Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Mentor Asia Pacific. I'm Avin Sangha, and today we are at Sea Grant and UOG. Thank you for hosting us today. We're interviewing one of my good friends. We've known each other for a very long time. This is Dr. Austin Shelton. Thanks for being on the show, brother.
Hello, thanks very much for having me.
Right on. So you want to share kind of what your position and what your title is at the moment?
Sure, so I'm Austin Shelton. I'm the Executive Director of the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Director of the University of Guam Sea Grant Program. But before that, I'm an Assistant Professor of Extension and Outreach, which means that it's my job at the university to bring the science from here out into the community in a format that is useful and usable to them.
Useful and usable. So let's go dive into that a little bit. What's useful and usable for you?
Sure. So let's say, for example, for Sea Grant, we have science ongoing about coral reefs and coastal resources. And what's important for our community to know is the needs and threats of our coral reefs. So if you go to the beach and you notice that the coral reefs don't look so good in some spots, that there's not as much fish, we want to be able to explain to you what the causes of those problems might be and what you can do in the community to help solve those problems.
Okay, that's good. That's a lot of projects to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, so share one thing that most people might not know about you, man.
Well, you kind of mentioned it. You know, we've known each other for a long time. So I was classmates with Dr. Alvin Sangha here throughout high school, and then even when we were in college at Hawaii Pacific University.
Yeah, we go a long way back.
Yeah. I think one cool thing too from FD that I don't share too much about is that I was an all-island center for the football team, right?
Football team. Yeah.
But and then I'm just going to share something that people don't know about you, maybe, that you were an all-island tennis star. So we've got a tennis star champ right here from our senior year.
That's it's a long time ago. It's a hobby I'm looking to pick back up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
cool.
So what's your story, man? I know a little bit about it since we've got some history, but talk to me about after high school from FD, what was your path and which way did you go with it?
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to back up a little bit from there because I do I think I've always known that I wanted to become a marine biologist. And that's because when I was little, probably around 4 or 5, my dad took me fishing. And we were catching EE and swimming and snorkeling around, and I just fell in love with the ocean. But I had, I think what was really cool is that my dad infused a little bit of science into that passion for the ocean, and we threw out these bottles, empty bottles with messages, Snapple bottles from Cost You Less, and maybe 40 bottles with these messages. I started hearing back from and I got pen pals, actually 5 of them in the Philippines. And then I turned that into a science project about ocean currents, and I realized that how connected we were from this small island in the Pacific to the rest of the world. And so I saw that you can turn like a passion for fishing in the ocean into science. And as I kept interacting with the ocean, I saw that there were just some parts about it that weren't as beautiful anymore because we had things going on that were going into the ocean, destroying things. We were losing fish, and it wasn't as pretty, at least behind my house in Assen. And I knew that if I can become a marine biologist, then perhaps I can start finding solutions to those problems. You
got your marine bio degree. Kind of walk me through coming back home to Guam and working at UOG now.
Well, it was a little tougher than that, I think. So we were in undergrad together at Hawaii Pacific University. I did pretty well in high school, and then I think it was like a transition when you're going out on your own in college. Took a little bit of getting used to, but I had some really cool boat labs and classes for undergrad, and then I had to figure out, if I wanted a real career in marine biology, I knew that you have to get a terminal degree or a PhD to do a little bit more. You can do a lot with a bachelor's degree, but I think the people I was looking up to were like faculty members or professors at the University of Guam Marine Lab, and I thought, well, if I want to have a career like that, then I've got to get a PhD. And so I was lucky enough to find an advisor at University of Hawaii at Manoa, who used to be the director of the University of Guam Marine Lab, and he transferred over to UH, and he was kind enough to take me into his lab to enter a PhD program, and that's Dr. Bob Richmond's one of my greatest mentors today still. And so he helped me through that process, which took another about 6 years to take all the courses and do independent research and finally figure out how to finish and wrap it up and come back home.
So let's talk about now. We're in the Sea Grant office at the moment. What are you guys' current projects that you want to put out there that kids are capable of reaching out of, or even have access to at the moment?
Sure. So I think one of the cool things that we do at Sea Grant and the Center for Island Sustainability is that we're always doing educational outreach. So we have a great team of extension professionals. Those are the people that bring the science to the community. That's what that term extension means. So we have this team that can come to your school or community events. Like for example, when the A Club sets up in the Gana Shopping Center, or we have World Oceans Day at the Micronesia Mall, we have Sea Grant and CIS educational outreach there, and you can always invite us to your classroom or your other events, and we'd be happy to try to put it in the schedule so that we can come out and bring educational outreach about our coral reefs, about our turtles, about reef safe sunscreen, and also things about sustainability, energy efficiency, composting, planting things. These are the kind of lessons that we can bring to you and other members of your organizations or your classes.
Nice. So I'm going to kind of pair two things that you said before. The first one is that you found this love for the ocean quite young, with your dad being your mentor about it, and then kind of now you're pairing it as your professional career. A lot of people would find that kind of difficult to put those two things together, like a passion and a career together, especially now. What kind of pathway or what would you give someone, or a piece of advice would you tell someone about thinking about putting their passion and a career together?
If you have an early passion, and especially if you're in high school or younger right now, and if you know what you love, I think you can find the career that matches that. Mine just happened to be towards science and an environmental career, but I think that there are a variety of different majors that you can look to pair those interests. And it's really great to have a show like this, Mentor Asia Pacific, that to see the variety of the types of things that people are doing, so that it can make sense. You have to make those connections, talk to people to see if you can tell them about your passions, what is a suggested major or type of career. And once you start connecting those dots and seeing other people who are doing it, I think it becomes a lot more clear in your mind, and that can give you the pathway to a successful career that you can really enjoy.
Okay, so I'm also going to share a little tidbit. So I remember when we were in Hawaii, you were a salesman of sorts. And I think we both kind of learned that route about being salesmen, about networking and putting ourselves out there and learning those skills. What's the major takeaway from having a network, or being able to sell yourself, or being able to promote something?
Well, I'll back up a little bit, because the reason that I was a salesman, this goes back to the need to be resourceful, right? So I had to find a way to get a job when I was in high school, and I was working at Paradise Fitness Center. Mr. Scrow was nice enough to give me a job to wipe down the sweat off machines when I was 14 years old. And then I saw that the people at the front desk were making commission if they sold gym memberships. And I thought, oh, that's a great way to make extra money. And that's how I started learning how to do sales. And then when I got to college, in order to pay my rent, I looked for a sales job, and I was selling jewelry in Waikiki, and did pretty well in that. And so it was a fun career. I think that taught me a lot about networking, how to talk to people, how to listen to them. And it's really beneficial now in my career, because to help our island move towards a sustainable future, it takes a lot of convincing to ask people to change their behaviors. Like, for example, the simple thing that's popular right now, can you change your plastic straw to a reusable straw or just sip directly from your cup? You know, we can tell you all the reasons about how all the plastic ends up in the ocean, how much plastic waste we have here in Guam. So you have to find those things that would be convincing to the everyday person to help them change that behavior and bring them along in this mission toward a sustainable future. So yeah, that's a cool question about sales. I think it's a really good skill that I can still see applied today.
Kind of to close a little bit, with a lot of students coming and thinking about going into college and that being the route that seems to kind of be portrayed as one that, you know, a lot of people are not ready to take just yet. You know, they have to think about the financial part and think about, you know, the feasibility of a career that's going to be at the end. What are the major points that you would tell someone about going to college? What are the pros of going to college?
I think a college degree really gives you, will really open doors for you to do almost anything you want to do. If you, for example, like right now, the things that I get to do to work on sustainability issues in marine biology, I wouldn't have the opportunity to really fulfill all my passions without that degree. I think it opens doors, and if you're discouraged because there are barriers to it, maybe it's the financial costs or you're just unsure of what you want to do, you really need to talk to people, to find out what other people have done, and then to be resourceful. I think if you have a passion, you're hungry to do something, if you're resourceful enough, you'll find the avenues to get you there. If you know what you want to do, especially in science, there are ways to get your education or your research experiences paid for. You just have to be resourceful out there, look for it. You can come see me. I'd be happy to connect you to all those opportunities, but there are dozens of opportunities out there in Guam. You just have to look in the right places and don't be discouraged just by the price of college or other barriers that you see. There's ways to get around them or to go over them.
Okay, so we're gonna get into kind of talking about UOG and what your next steps are with Sea Grant and CIS. What direction are you guys going in? What are your upcoming projects?
Well, let's see. The Center for Island Sustainability, our job is to lead our island region toward a sustainable future and to help support that transition. And Sea Grant is part of the Center for Island Sustainability, where we bring the science of our coastal resources to our community. I think for CIS, the direction for the next year is to do a few things. One is to align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These are SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. There's a lot of places in the world using these goals, and it helps for collaboration on a global level to talk to each other about how to achieve sustainability. So we want to make sure that Guam is part of that conversation and we're doing that right. Another initiative that we're pushing out is the Guam Green Commitment. We have an Island Sustainability Community Advisory Board with prominent members of our community. They're going to be helping to take a Guam Green commitment, sort of a pledge, to different organizations and help people commit to taking action on sustainability. Another thing is called Guam Green Growth. We are looking for opportunities to grow our economy. We all know that military spending, government spending, and tourism are our main industries, but what can we do in sustainability and green growth to change our economy and to add to it? And so there's this thing called the circular economy, where you take waste from one industry and use it as the starting product of another industry. My favorite example right now is the banana paper wallets. Have you seen that? So you take after a banana tree grows, you have to cut down the banana and you throw the tree away. So instead of just throwing that tree to rot, they're turning it into paper and kosherai, and then now they're making products like notebooks for us here, or they're making making wallets and all of these other like vegan leather products, which is really cool. So if we can take a waste product, create jobs, and create opportunities to reduce our waste, it could be really valuable for our island's economy.
With all of the sustainability issues coming around and everybody talking about going eco, going green, it could be kind of overwhelming to think about the changes that you might want to make in your lifestyle. If you were to pick one or two small changes that you can make in your your daily practices, what should people look forward to doing?
I think two things that everybody can do is take a look at their usage, or how much single-use plastic they use, and also their use of energy. So for the single-use plastic, what are alternatives that you could use to things in your everyday life? So are you still using a plastic straw? Can you skip that or bring a reusable straw? Are you still using plastic Ziploc bags for your lunches or sending that to school with your kids? Instead, use a Tupperware. Orange slices fit nicely in a Tupperware instead of a Ziploc bag. Bigger things like saran wrap or plastic bottles. Actually, if you're still buying cases of bottled water, look into getting into a filter, or just be fine with the GWA water, because it's perfectly safe to drink out of your faucet. So those are little alternatives that you can do in your life for reducing single-use plastic waste. And we all know that if you reduce that, we have healthier coastal ecosystems in the long term. Reducing your energy footprint. If you are getting a new air conditioner for your house, for example, there are energy efficient appliances like we have here in our Sea Grant office. You get a great rebate, $200 to $300 off, and you're going to save money over time and reduce your carbon emissions, reduce your power bill. LED lights and things like that are important. And if you're not making any changes to your home, then you could at least use the timer on your air conditioner, turn off the lights when you leave the room, and reduce your driving, reduce or do more carpooling and biking or walking in between buildings, especially if you're here like on the campus at UOG. You don't have to drive to every door, but use a little footwork.
All right, guys, we're going to thank Dr. Shelton for being on the show today. Once again, this has been an episode for Mentor Asia Pacific. Stay tuned for the next one. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks, guys, for tuning into Mentor Asia Pacific. Once again, I'm Alvin Sangha. Check out all our social media. That's going to be linked down below. Stay tuned. More mentors are to come. We're going to be releasing a mentor every week. And please leave a comment down below for any mentors that you'd like to be featured on the channel. Any business professional, entrepreneur, or anybody that you believe is inspiring and can provide to be a mentor for the youth of Guam. Until next time, thank you very much. Sangha out.